Greetings, my friends. Hope this day finds you safe, healthy, and happy, and enjoying your life, whatever you're doing, wherever you're doing it, just thriving, just having a great time. Just hope you're enjoying everything you're doing. Let's go right to Dr. Holmes, see what he has to say for us today. Somehow I had a page folded over here. I don't know why, and I'm just going to go right to what was in here. Okay. In this peace that holds me so gently, I find strength and protection from all fear or anxiety. It is the peace of God in which I feel the love of a holy presence. I am so conscious of this love, this protection, that every sense of fear slips away from me as mist fades in the morning light. I see good in everything, God personified in all people, life manifest in every event. And so it is. I just read the last two lines. I see God in everything, God personified in all people, in life, manifest in every event. That's so funny. Let's try it one more time, huh? I see God in everything, God personified in all people, life manifest in every event. God personified in all people. That's a great opening line here for what I wanted to talk about today. The mean season continued, I called this show, and it's about the political season. It's about this is all very, very, very personal. This is about me, the mean season. This is about something that I have been really caught up in. I'm going to say since 2008. Since the in the very early days of, was Facebook even around then? Twitter was around by then, I think. But it was just, I have been somebody who's paid attention to the politics for probably the last, well, you know what? At least since sobriety, for the last, coming up now on 39 years. I've been involved. I've been vocal. I've expressed my views. And there was a short period of time in the middle there where I actually was wrestling with being more conservative, with being maybe more Republican. I actually just kind of felt like, maybe because I was very successful in fundraising and I was making a lot of money, and maybe it was time to kind of like maybe look a little bit differently at the roles of the Democratic and Republican parties. And I started to lean towards Republican. I had a business partner at the time who was very conservative, and he was a Republican. And I guess the advent of George W. Bush scared the hell out of me. And the truth of the matter is, I hadn't voted since Nixon. I just didn't care. And somewhere along the line there, I got reinvested. I think the whole situation with W and Gore and that stuff, that all kind of just didn't sit well with me. It got me reinvested into the process. But I hadn't voted since Nixon, as I said. I voted for Gore. There's no way in God's green earth I could vote for W. And by the way, I don't mean this in to be a political thing at all, or about my preferences. I mean it to be about the discussion. And I have, I remember distinctly that my beloved Lisa and I hosted it was through Mile High Church. It was either an Adventures in Faith or an Adventures in Prosperity event the night of the election in 2008. And my wife was saying goodbye to the last people who were leaving our house. And I immediately turned on the TV, and Brian Williams, I believe, was right there in front of my face. And the first words out of his mouth, I think, were, Barack Obama is the new president of the United States. And I started to cry because I was so happy. Because I had felt like the world was watching, and maybe we had come of age. That was a little premature, maybe, but that's how I felt at the moment. And Lisa came in, and I told her, and she started to cry as well. And we were very pleased with it. And I was again very invested in the social consciousness, in the time to start doing things for people, for the citizens of the United States. It's time to start taking care of them. And obviously, we fast forward through then Barack Obama was reelected in 2012. Then we come to 2016, and the stuff hit the fan, and things started to get ugly. The vitriol was amazing. The back and forth was our discourse was nasty. Let me turn on my comments here. I can see you guys are out there. If you want to make a comment or ask a question about this, please do. And I apologize if you're watching from my on my Facebook page. I'm not sure if you make a comment if it shows up here. If it doesn't, I'll answer the comments when I finish the show. But please, if you're out there and you want to make a comment or ask a question, I'd love to have you do that. So the discourse started to get ugly. People started to really get. I mean, we've always been polarized in one way, shape, or form, but people started to get more and more polarized. They started to get more aggrieved, if you will, with their point of view, and we came to the point where we were all just kind of looking at people with a different political view as the other, and there was no real middle ground. There was no real kind of compromise. There was no, which is part of the democratic system. We're not a democracy, we're a democratic republic. Okay, blah blah blah. But the idea that the Congress has always been a place of compromise, where you worked with the other side, not against the other side. And there was always this idea of what is our common ground, and of the things on which we differ, how can we compromise with one another to get the best results for the American people? And that seems to have gone out the window. And along with it has been a populace whose ability to converse about the political situation or circumstances of the day, that's gone out the window as well. There's the old joke about, the two things you never discuss about at cocktail parties, family dinners, any kind of get together, you never talk about politics and religion. I've heard it proposed that maybe the reason that we have such a hard time now discussing politics and religion in a civil fashion at this point is because for so long it was something we were not allowed to talk about. I think it's important that we start to go back to the idea of you and I have differing points of view politically or even religiously. But in every single instance, there are places upon which we have common ground. And where we have common ground, shouldn't we be able to identify that and then say, okay, now here's where we differ. How do we compromise here and get ourselves to a point where we can, in a very respectful, honest, humble way, agree to disagree? But at the same time, embrace our commonality. That seems to have gone away. It seems to be something of the past. And I find myself, I've talked about this many times, and it's important to me to talk about it now. I feel very vulnerable about this, but I think it's important to be vulnerable about this. I am way more of a political junkie than I'd like to admit. I get too involved. I get too engrossed. I really, really, truly feel that we are living in a time where we actually have I hate to do this one side or the other side, but there is one party, one group of people, not necessarily an entire party, one group within this party is bombarding the electorate, and in particular, the base of their electorate with lies. Lie after lie after lie, and telling the same lie over and over and over and over again. And the truth is that the Nazis really were the first ones to kind of codify this, if you will, and the communists did it as well. Is if you repeat the lie over and over and over again, if you pound the people who are receiving the lie with the same lie over and over again, then absolutely no amount of evidence to the contrary is going to change their mind, ever. And we have arrived at a point in the history of our politics, of our country, where that is happening to us now. Not only is it happening to us, but there is really strong evidence that there is a small group of people who are creating the lies, like content creators. Only the content is BS. And then they have a finite group of people who listen to everything they say, and they keep pounding the lie over and over again. Those people are never, ever, ever going to be available to be convinced otherwise no matter what you show them, what you tell them, they have really fallen into the trap of the 1984 trap, folks. Don't believe your lion eyes and your lion ears. Believe what we are telling you. Given that, we add to the mix social media. Social media now has become the big trap. And they got my ass, let me tell you, and they get me every time. I post something that is, I believe, to be poignant, if you will, or pertinent, more than poignant, pertinent to the situation, to the times that we're in. And what I've really come to understand here in the last couple of days, and this is interesting, it doesn't matter what you post as far as how positive it is, how upbeat it is. If it has any specifics to it, like I posted something the other day about the 1960s and it being a time of heart and compassion and the best music ever. And somebody who I know fairly well, who is also very much a progressive person, he jumped all over it. He jumped all over it about, there's nothing about golden ages and it wasn't a panacea and there was racism and there was violence and there was Goldwater versus Johnson and blah, 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 blah. He went on and on about all this stuff. And I thought to myself, you know what? Doesn't matter how positive your post is or how positive your intention is. Excuse me. There's always somebody out there waiting to pounce. There's always somebody out there waiting to be outraged. And so when we post anything that is even remotely political, somebody's going to get outraged. Somebody's going to pounce on it. And I made a post the other day. I made 2 posts the other day, actually. And 2 people jumped all over them. And both of these people, one of them I'm not really friends with this person. She's someone I'm acquainted with. I'm actually friends with her daughter. And the conversation devolved into the woman who I didn't know. The woman, she said, "There's no sense trying to wake this one," and it just rubbed me the wrong way. It's this idea that if we disagree with one another, then I'm awake and you're not awake. I remember I hearkened back to the days when I first started studying metaphysics and spirituality. I was studying by myself to get my degree in metaphysics, which I did. I got a bachelor's degree in metaphysics. And then I became an ordained minister in the International Metaphysical Ministry. And I was very, very, very proud of that. And I felt conversant in metaphysics. I felt like I knew what I was talking about, but I had fallen into a trap because I was studying alone. I had fallen into a trap of thinking, I'm more spiritual than you are. I'm more metaphysical than you are. And then one day, I got tickets to go see at Mile High Church in Lakewood, Colorado. I got to go see Gary Zukav, the writer of The Seed of the Soul, but more importantly, the writer of The Dancing Wu Li Masters, one of the great books that I've ever read, The Dancing Wu Li Masters. And went to see Gary Zukav. And when I walked into the sanctuary of Mile High Church, the old sanctuary, it's now the Vote Center, but it was the old sanctuary, it's a very small room. I don't remember now. It only held like 800 people maybe. And whenever you had a big speaker like Gary Zukav, they squeezed us in like friggin' sardines. But we went to see Gary Zukav, but I walked into this room, and this was a room filled with people who knew everything I knew, studied all the same things I studied, and believed many of the exact same things that I believed. And I felt that feeling of exceptionalism that I had created around myself just peeled away like a banana peel. And all of a sudden, I was in a room full of like-minded people, and I realized I'm with a whole lot of people who are just as special as me, if you will, okay, to be silly about it. But I hope I didn't lose my own train of thought right about why I went there. But we get into these conversations, and because you get into this conversation with spiritual people, and the spiritual people have a tendency to act like, oh, okay, you're just not as awake as I am. You're not as enlightened as I am. And that was the vibe I got from these people around the idea that I just didn't buy what they were selling. And they had, and the woman who I more vaguely know, excuse me, it's just, it's the allergy time of year, and I just, for some reason, the cough pops in at different times of the day from the pollen in the air. But she presented to me the idea, but they both presented to me the idea that there are so many conspiracy theories out there that have come true or that are now accepted as fact. And I said, there's a lot of that has been claimed, not so many that have been proven. And the one woman sent me this couple of links for a woman, Kim, somebody whose last name just escapes me at the moment, who's a radio personality and an acknowledged conspiracy theorist and supposedly a liberal of some kind. But she was debunking the 10 biggest conspiracies. Not debunking, that's not the right word. She was picking the top 10 conspiracies of 2022 that had been proven to be correct in 2023. So obviously it was a year-old radio show or whatever. And some of what she said, she was right on the money. Some of it was true. Some of it was BS. And some of it was tremendously exaggerated. And there was an awful lot of spin on a few of them to prove her point. The bottom line was, though, and a couple of them, by the way, were things that were not necessarily conspiracies. They were just things that were talked about on the fringe and blah, blah, blah. I guess it's kind of a spectrum of them. But anyway, and because I wasn't buying it, I was denigrated. Because I didn't fall for it hook, line, and sinker, all of a sudden, I'm not awake. I'm not enlightened. And the greater point is the title of the show, The Mean Season Continued. The mean season is now. The mean season is April 4th. By the way, the anniversary of the assassination of Martin Luther King. May he always rest in power. But it's going on right now, and it will go on for May, June, July, August, September, October, November. It'll go on for the next 7 months. November, I believe November 5th. So really almost exactly 7 months. I believe Election Day is November 5th. Might be November 4th, actually. But I think it's November 5th. The mean season is going to continue, and it's only going to get meaner. It's only going to get uglier. And there is, I think, a responsibility placed on my shoulders by myself to be kind, to be compassionate, to be considerate, and to look at from the perspective of, you know what? You want to vote for him, and I couldn't vote for him if hell froze. I couldn't vote for him if he's the only candidate ever. I'm going to vote for the other guy, but we're both human beings. And in so many people who I'm connected with, particularly in social media, they are in one way, shape, or form involved in metaphysics or spirituality, or even if they're just someone who practices yoga every day. There's a DSP, a daily spiritual practice piece to the yoga. What is our commonality? What are the things that we enjoy together? What are the things we want together? What are the things when we look at the two polar opposite as the two candidates can be, when we look at them, you and I are not polar opposites. There are things that you and I have in common. There are things that you and I both desire to have as outcomes for our lives, for our country, and for the American people via this election. We disagree on how that's going to happen, but we have that same concern. Let's define that first. And then let's look at the differences. Let's look at the things that make us lean to the right. That's funny. Or to the left, which looks like on the screen, but I did it reverse, like a yoga teacher. Anyway, I don't know if you even understand what I just said, but the idea is we have to, as you know, and I lost the spot, of course, we have to see the face of God in every single person, even if that face is just an avatar on Facebook. We absolutely need to see the presence of the divine in each and every human being. And I despise everything about the one candidate. And you guys can extrapolate that, and you know exactly who I'm talking about. I despise every single thing about that human being, but I refuse to hate him. I hate the sin, not the sinner, or I endeavor to hate the sin, not the sinner. And I get accused when you have the argument, why do you hate so-and-so so much? I'm trying very hard not to hate. And trust me, in this particular instance, I find it very difficult because I do despise everything about this person. I see no redeeming human characteristics. I see a totally failed human being. But that doesn't mean I hate that human being. Maybe I've done this. I admitted to this a few years ago. I did it like 2 days in a row. I haven't done it since, but I included that person in my prayer book. Same person. Maybe that's what we need every day. Maybe that's what we always need to do, each and every day of our lives. You know, I'm gonna leave you today with a reading from Dr. Holmes from the textbook, or what we call the textbook, the Science of Mind. Let me turn on my reading light here so I can see what the hell I'm doing. Okay, of course you know, right? The Science of Mind, the textbook by Ernest Holmes, and the thing that I'm expressing here today is that we need to embrace one another, regardless of our differing opinions. Find the commonality of our desires in life, then focus on them and discuss. Don't argue about our differences. On page 264 of the Science of Mind textbook, Ernest Holmes does a treatment, and the treatment is for peace of mind. And it's one of my favorite treatments of his in the book, and I'm going to read it for you today. Just maybe if you're, as long as you're not driving, which I doubt you're doing if you're watching this, just close your eyes and think about this. Be still and know that I am God. I am the Christ, the Son of the living God within me. I am the principle of peace within me. I am the manifestation of love within me. My mind is poised in peace and beauty. All sense of fear or doubt is gone. I rest in calm trust and rely on the law of spirit to bring good into my experience. I contend with none, argue with none, and am filled with wonderful peace and light. There is no uncertainty about my future and no fear as a result of my past. I live in an eternal now, which is filled with good alone. Goodness and beauty follow me. Peace and joy accompany me. Happiness and wholeness fill my entire being with the realization of love and perfection. I am the Christ, the Son of the living God within me. This inner mind of mine is now divine and complete. It has no worries and no fears. It is whole, complete, and satisfied. I look back over all previous experience and find that it was good, very good. I look forward toward the future and find that it is good and very good. I look at the present and find that it is also good and very good. God is in all, over all, and through all. I am the Christ, the Son of the living God within me. I am the spirit of confidence. I am poised in love and reason. I am the perfect law of truth and the complete presence of beauty. I am Christ, the Son of the living God within me. We want to enjoy peace of mind. We have to embrace that Christ within, and we have to be able to express that Christ within as the Christ in each and every person. That's it for me today. I want you to remember always, New Thought Media Network is a nonprofit organization. We live and breathe by virtue of your generosity and your donations. There is the website right there on the crawl, ntmedia.org, newthoughtmedia.org. Click on donate, and we're thrilled to get whatever it is you decide you would like to give us. Please remember that this show is brought to you by HempWorks. This is one of my favorite products in the world, the HempWorks Original Coffee here. It is filled with 5 milligrams of CBD, as well as some chaga mushrooms and other good things for your health. Great afternoon pick-me-up that won't really, it has never done the thing about keeping me awake. I can actually have it in the afternoon. And of course, the greatest CBD products on the planet, the most cleanest, purest, most highly potent CBD you'll find anywhere. I don't even know how many flavors we have anymore, maybe 10. It comes in both the broad spectrum, which is totally 100% THC free. If you're someone who has a rare allergy to THC, or if you take a very, very sensitive test, drug test for work. And Full Spectrum, which has the legal limit of 0.3% or less of THC in it. And it comes in the 3 concentrations of 500, 750, and 1500 milligrams, depending on what your needs might be. I use it every single day. I use it every night before I go to bed. It helps me to get to sleep. It also helps if you're feeling any stress whatsoever. And depending on the person and depending on the pain, it can be an amazing pain reliever, but it doesn't. It's just like anything out there, whether it's a pharmaceutical or a homeopathic, everything responds differently to each and every body differently. So you just have to play with it if it's something you want to use. So HempWorks is our sponsor. Please visit hempworks.com/Ken Ludwig. Go right to my page, give you the best pricing, and show you everything you want to know about CBD. If I can help you in any way, please send me a message. Send me you can text me, send me an email at teamrocketnow@gmail.com. You can find me and my beloved Lisa on Facebook at our branded Facebook page, Vibrant Aging, which of course goes hand in hand with this show, Vibrant Living. That is, or the parent company for HempWorks is called My Daily Choice, an extraordinary array of health products and products for your pets, for your car, for clothing. Just the most amazing company on the planet. Go there, mydailychoice.com/Ken Ludwig once again. And let's always keep up our donation page here at the bottom so that you folks can donate your money anytime you wish. As always, I am immensely grateful for the great gift of your time and your attention. I wish you all the love and all the blessings the universe has to offer. I hope you will join me next week and every Thursday at 2 o'clock Mountain Time and 4 o'clock Central Time for another edition of Vibrant Living. And until then, my friends, namaste.